Alright everybody, welcome back to the Joe Nerd's Toy Room. Here with something I'm trying that's a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing a G.I. Joe vintage vehicle slash weapon that came out in 1988. Now I'm going to be doing this review all by memory. I didn't look up anything on the internet. I just want to see exactly what I can say about this, all going by memory. So we've got the box. It's very nice, very near mint box. It has even a little bit of a gloss to it. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera or not. It has beautiful, incredibly beautiful box art. The artist who did this one is, well, it was pretty much the same artist, I think, all the way through. But the artist in question, they really outdid themselves with this one. They make, to be honest, this weapon is not really the most flashy or interesting in the vintage line, but they do a damn good job of making it seem a lot cooler. So anyway, aside from that, the front of it, then we've got the bottom, and then we're going to go to the back, and then, so what we've got is the really nice write-up. One of the things I really liked about Joe vehicles back then is Hasbro was really paying attention to detail, and not only that, but also the suspension of disbelief. They really wrote very, very well. They had some good writers on these. I don't really know. I would doubt it would be Larry Hama. I think he was only in charge of file cards and names and such. But anyway, you've got the diagram here. Pivoting missile guidance system. Rolling all-terrain tires. 2 computer-censored missiles. Unique elevating missile launching system, which I will point out when we get to the toy. And just before I get to the toy, I wanted to point this out too, that I thought was always really, really cool. Even as a kid, I loved this. It has the contains list, and they go into some really good detail. They really make it seem like it's a real world working weapon, So you got, vehicle, piston arm, missile rack, 6 wheels, 2 missiles with nose cones, exhausts, seat, G.I. Joe folder, label sheet, instructions, and blueprints. Okay, in all fairness, this one is not the most technically impressive written one. I could have, there are better examples of what I was trying to point out, guys, but unfortunately, this is the only boxed vintage Joe vehicle that I own. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the review here and look at the Cobra Adder. So right here I have him. I decided to pose it with or that is to pose a figure with it, and that is oddly enough Road Pig. Well, I kind of did that because, as you noticed earlier, Road Pig was featured in the painted box card, box front. So I always kind of wondered what that was all about. Even as a kid, I thought it was a little strange that they had Road Pig driving it. But then it occurred to me that I think what it was is that Hasbro was very, as far as memory goes, I remember that with a box art of a vehicle or playset or weapon, what have you, they would usually instruct the artist to paint figures or characters that were available within that year. So, and I'm pretty sure it was always like that. I'm trying to think about it now, and I seem to recall that with everything, like the box of the Terrordrome, for instance, that has incredibly beautiful artwork. And if you look at the box, you'll notice that, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, they did dip back into previous years. But anyway, You get the idea. So, and going back to Road Pig, I think the reason why they chose to have Road Pig driving it is because when you think of the Cobra characters that were released in 1988, there's not too much to choose from. I was thinking the only real troop builders that I can think of that came out of 1988 were had the Astro Viper. For those who aren't familiar, the Astro Viper is an astronaut, and that would have been kind of silly for him to be driving this. And then you also had a Toxo Viper. Well, the Toxo Viper, it's a little weird too, having a toxic environment troop driving a missile launching system like this. So I guess Road Pig was a good enough choice. So let's get on to the damn thing after I've blabbered on and on and on. So anyway, you've got it from all the way around. I'm gonna move Road Pig out of here just so I can have a little bit of space to work. So you've got it from the back. As you can see, it's very simple. It's very small, very stout, but you know, it's, yeah, stout, but very, very tough looking, very powerful looking. You know, it actually, yeah, it really does. It doesn't look flimsy or anything, and the toy is very sturdy, guys. It's incredibly sturdy. When you're handling this baby, you get the idea that, you know, Hasbro really had their designers working on it to make these things tough. You had to assemble it yourself. For those who aren't familiar, that was a big, big draw. And that's pretty much the reason why I forked out the cash to buy this little baby. For its size and everything, it cost me a little bit of money because it was sealed in the box, but that's what you're gonna have to do. Like, if you want it vintage, sealed in the box, and assemble it yourself, and, you know, get those really nice, warm, fuzzy childhood memories springing back to you as you assemble it, you know. It's pretty much what I did. It was a blast putting this thing together. So anyway, let's get on to, so you could see it has the free rolling wheels, and this is its main gimmick. Now, the elevation system for this missile rack is really interesting. It's really, like, what I'll do is I'll just pivot it up, and you might not be able to, okay, you can. As I pivot it up, you can see a sort of hydraulic system here. It's molded in red. It's like a hydraulic piston that kind of pivots up. As you elevate it, the piston raises and pivots back as well. So it was a very, very simple gimmick. I'll show it to you from here so you could see it a little more. As you can see, it just, at the end of the piston, there's a T-bar that kind of just slides along a little track in here. It's a very simple gimmick, but it's interesting how back then the gimmicks were not a spring-loaded missile, but it was a gimmick that made it seem like more of a real-world working thing. And man, I really wish Hasbro would go back to that way of thinking. I really miss that. I really think that is kind of that's been lost throughout time. Yeah, and I really would think with the times changing, that kids being a little more intelligent, or so they say, a little more intelligent with the changing times, you know, a little more up with things, I should say. You know, you would think that kids nowadays would really, really like that, would really appreciate that, as opposed to just spring-loaded missiles, which in my opinion, that's just dumbing it down, really. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Everybody's got one. So anyway, now lastly, before I lose the light completely, so what I'll do is show you guys what this little thing looks like with a figure driving it. So I decided the closest thing I have to an acceptable troop builder from around that era is the Frag Viper from 1989. So this is my first time trying this out to see what he looks like in the driver's seat. And, oh yeah. Yeah, he looks pretty cool. I thought that this would be a good match. Yeah, yeah, as you can see, he can hold the control sticks. Yeah, and that's about it. That's what it looks like with a driver figure. And just because I can, I decided I'd give you guys a look at something else. Just to see how it works with a more current figure. Here I have a 30th anniversary Techno Viper, and I did try this ahead of time just to make sure it would work. Because these figures are a little bit taller, for those who aren't familiar. They do stand a little bit taller than vintage, but even that works. So if ever you do see this little vehicle slash weapon for sale, loose, complete, yeah, pick it up. It's really, really nice. Again, one other thing I'm noticing that I forgot to mention in my rush to get this finished is the missiles. They are really on there, guys, as you can see. Wow. But I will remove one of them. Just, my gosh. You know, I have not removed these since I bought it, guys. And man, oh man. Wow, these things are on there. I think this is going to be the one and only time I ever take them off. But anyway, the things they'll do for a review. So basically, yeah, it's just the standard plug system for the missiles. And the missiles are really elaborate, really big. The nose cone and the rocket portion in the back were separate pieces that all needed to be snapped together. So anyway, yeah, there you go, guys. So, and before I let you go, I guess I'll also show, I have this, is the blueprints and instructions that were included with it. You got the Cobra Adder instructions, had the snap pieces, and it had a diagram for stickers, and then you had the blueprints, which is something that is really, really cool. Another really lost feature that really added to the magic and the suspension of disbelief with these things. So anyway, guys, yeah, that's about it. So that is the vintage 1988 Cobra Adder. So hope you all enjoyed, guys, and I'll talk to you all in the very, very near future. Bye for now.